Congressman Cuellar from Laredo, who is here and has a challenger in the primary. You are a Henry Cuellar endorser.
Absolutely.
House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi has just endorsed an anti-choice and pro-NRA Democrat in Texas's 28th district over his primary challenger, Jessica Cisneros. Watch.
Will you have a friendly incumbent rule heading into this election cycle so that if any incumbent Democrat in your House is challenged in a primary, that you will default to endorsing the incumbent Democrat?
That's absolutely. That is the easiest question you could ask.
So Henry Cuellar, who's in the audience, Congressman Cuellar from Laredo, who is here and has a challenger in the primary. You are a Henry Cuellar endorser.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm very, very proud of Henry's work in the Congress, and I'm proud to support.
All right. So you heard the boos in the background. Those people are actually educated on who Henry Cuellar is. But I also just find this hilarious that Nancy Pelosi thinks this is the easiest question. You know, the easiest question isn't whether to support, guaranteeing health care for everybody in the country. No, the easiest question is, should I support anybody on my team regardless of how they vote, regardless of their records? Yes, I will support them regardless of what they've done. Absurd. This shows you how horrible of a leader Nancy Pelosi is. Now, before I go any further, if you know anybody in the 28th district in Texas, you have to send them this video because a lot of people may not be aware just exactly of who the representative Henry Cuellar is and how he's voted, how he supports Trump, how he has given money or helped raise money for a Republican just last year. So this guy is insane. Let me start from the top here. He's the only Texas Democrat with an A rating from the NRA. So this from the New York Times. The NRA's Democratic allies are nearly extinct. Support for the NRA has always been much stronger among Republicans and Democrats, both in Congress and in the electorate. But until recently, a significant minority of Democrats were on board with the group. Now, only 3 congressional Democrats, Representatives Sanford Bishop of Georgia, Colin Peterson of Minnesota, and Henry Cuellar of Texas, have A grades. Just 2 more, Representatives Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey and Kurt Schrader of Oregon, have Bs. There is not a single A or B rated Democrat left in the Senate. And of course, Cuellar receives NRA cash. When asked if he would return the money, quote, "Why would he do that?" said Cuellar's campaign spokesman, Colin Strother, when asked whether the lawmaker will return an NRA donation or give it to charity. Cuellar received $6,950 in donations from the NRA Political Victory Fund during his re-election campaign last year. He has received thousands of dollars in donations from the group since he was elected to Congress over a decade ago. And this is in a pro-Democrat district. So the excuse that a lot of these kinds of Democrats use, these moderate or in this case clearly conservative Democrats use, is they'll say, well, I'm in a district that is, largely Republican, so if I don't vote this way, well, they're going to vote me out. He can't even use that excuse. Cuellar's district went for Clinton by 19 points. This man has no excuse to vote this way, has no excuse to be in support of the NRA's agenda, has no excuse for the other things I'm about to get to here in a second. He's also, as I said earlier, an anti-choice politician. This from Time magazine. All of the pro-life Democrats in Congress are men, and Henry Cuellar is listed there. And I have a link below if you want to read more about his positions on that. And as I was saying, Cuellar also raised money for a Republican. This from the Washington Post. Left-wing campaign groups, which had their greatest success last year in deep blue districts, have pointed the heavy Democratic advantage in Cuellar's seat as evidence that anyone who unseated the congressman would be elected in November. Cuellar also rankled Democrats last year by helping raise money for Representative John Carter, Republican of Texas, who narrowly defeated a strong Democratic challenger in the Austin exurbs. So you look at this race. So John Carter won this race, the Republican won this race, by only a few percentage points. Henry Cuellar helped raise money for this man. Very likely, he could have been the reason that John Carter was able to win that race. A Republican won his race with the help of Democrat Henry Cuellar. And as I was saying, this is all in a safe district. But there's more. He's voted with Trump almost 50% of the time, and almost 70% of the time before he knew he was seeing a primary challenge. So you see in the 115th Congress, it was at almost 70% voting with Trump, Henry Cuellar was. And then when he realized he was going to be challenged in his upcoming race, now it's just 10%. But even in that 10%, look at the kinds of things he has voted with Trump on. Banning drilling off the Atlantic and Pacific coasts, and banning drilling in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Both Cuellar and Trump opposed that. So, anti-choice, pro-NRA, anti-environment. This is in a safe, democratic district. If there is anybody that needs to be primary challenged out, that needs to be primaried out of their position in Congress, it's Henry Cuellar. And luckily, you have a fantastic candidate in Jessica Cisneros. So Jessica Cisneros, I've discussed her before. She's a human rights lawyer. She is backed by the Justice Democrats. And funny enough, also worked for Henry Cuellar at one point. So she knows this man. And she's also getting some press here. So Vogue put out this piece saying, is Jessica Cisneros the next Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? And I think she is. If there is any district that will, any Democrat that will be primaried in this upcoming race, it'll be Henry Cuellar. Because of how solidly blue the district is, how horrible his record is, and how fantastic Jessica Cisneros is. Now, on top of that, before I end this video, since clearly Nancy Pelosi is a horrible Democratic leader, I should also mention Shahid Buttar, who is primarying Nancy Pelosi. So if you are in Nancy Pelosi's district, make sure you support Shahid Buttar. I'll have a link to his site below. You should read his about page, his issues page, and if you support him, send him money and volunteer if you can. You need to replace the Democratic leadership. This is how actual change happens. Nancy Pelosi doesn't care about Henry Cuellar and his anti-choice record, his pro-NRA record, his anti-environment record. Pelosi doesn't care about any of that. You have to replace her with somebody that is strong in their convictions and actually stands up for people, and that's Shahid Buttar. So I have a link to his website below the video. I also have a link to Jessica Cisneros' site below the video. Support both of these candidates. Send them money if you can and volunteer with them if you can.